Roald Dahl's books and characters are many things. They're mischievous, they're funny, they're adventurous, they're grisly, they're witty. Sometimes they're even scary. But are they actually offensive? Well, Puffin Books, Roald Dahl's publishers, think so. They hired so-called sensitivity readers. Does your skin crawl as much as mine does when you hear that phrase? Sensitivity readers. To ransack the great Roald Dahl's legendary books. A man who sold 300 million copies of those books, but they thought they could actually do them better. The Thought Police have taken a meat cleaver to some of the best-loved children's stories of all time. Literally hundreds and hundreds of words and phrases have been cut or completely rewritten. Now, as always, the idea was to make them less offensive. And as ever, they weren't offensive to start with. The offensive thing is their removal.
Yo, what's good with y'all, man? So today I just wanted to talk to y'all real briefly about how they're starting to censor books, right? So they're going back and they're changing content and context of books to fit political narratives, right? And they're pushing propaganda and they are essentially rewriting history. And I actually found out about this through an Instagram page that I follow called Ride the News. I'll try to attach the link to that page in the description of this video. But so I read, that's where I found out about it. And then I started to research it more. So I found this article, right? And it's called Changes to Roald Dahl's Books Spark Criticism, Absurd Censorship. And this is from CBS. So let's get right into it, man. And then I'll provide a little bit of commentary, social commentary at the end of the article. So, changes to Roald Dahl's children's books have ignited a firestorm of criticism from authors, organizations, and some readers online. The changes were approved by the Roald Dahl Story Company and the book's publisher Puffin Books, and carried out by a sensitivity organization for children's books called Inclusive Minds, according to the Daily Telegraph, which first reported the revisions. Dahl was the author behind such popular works as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, and The Witches. The purpose of the changes is to ensure that Dahl's works can continue to be enjoyed by all today, Puffin told the Telegraph. Descriptions of characters as fat, ugly, and crazy have been removed from the works in an attempt to bolster body positivity and more sensitive depictions of mental health. Some gender descriptions have also been removed from the text, changing what had previously been references to boys and girls as people or children, reported the Telegraph, who also said that a previous description of the character Miss Trunchbull in Matilda as a most formidable female has been changed to a most formidable woman. The paper also reported that new passages which were not written by Dahl had been added to the text. So they're adding things that weren't even part of his work? That makes no sense. Anyway, in The Witches, a paragraph explaining that witches are bald beneath their wigs ends with the line, "There are plenty of other reasons why women might wear wigs, and there is certainly nothing wrong with that," said the Telegraph. Wow. Anyway, CBS News has reached out to both Puffin Books and the Roald Dahl Story Company for comment. The changes have been generating backlash among both readers and literary figures. Author Salman Rushdie, who has been recovering after a stabbing attack last summer, wrote on Twitter, "Roald Dahl was no angel, but this is absurd censorship." Man, they stabbing authors out here? What do you do to y'all? It's crazy. Puffin Books and Dahl Estate should be ashamed, Rushdie added. Suzanne Nosel, CEO of PEN America, a nonprofit organization that stands at the intersection of literature and human rights to protect open expression, said the organization was alarmed at news of hundreds of changes to venerated works by Roald Dahl in a purported effort to scrub the books of that which might offend someone. In a 13-tweet thread, Nosel went on to say that selective editing to make works of literature conform to particular sensibilities could represent a dangerous new weapon, adding that so much of literature could be construed as offensive to someone. If we start down the path of trying to correct for perceived slights instead of allowing readers to receive and react to books as written, we risk distorting the work of great authors and clouding the essential lens that literature offers on society, Nossel wrote. In 2020, the Dahl family issued an apology for anti-Semitic remarks made by the author during his lifetime, writing in a statement, "Those prejudiced remarks are incomprehensible to us and stand in marked contrast to the man we knew and to the values at the heart of Roald Dahl's stories, which have positively impacted young people for generations. We hope that, just as he did at his best, at his absolute worst, Roald Dahl can help remind us of the lasting impact of words," the statement continued. The statement appears to no longer be on the website of Roald Dahl Story Company, which was acquired by Netflix in September 2021. Dahl's books have sold over 250 million copies, and his library spans 43 written works, including 20 children's books. Movie adaptations of his works have netted more than 750 million at the box office, according to Words Rated. Okay, so this is crazy, y'all. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is scary. So what I was going to say is, if you guys have never read 1984, this is literally what 1984 is all about. And also other dystopian novels like Fahrenheit 451. So the main way that the powers that be attack the people is through misinformation and disinformation. And in both those stories, they attack books. They attack literature. So in 1984, they burn all the books. They don't let people read. But in 1984, this is literally what they do. And the main character, his name is Winston. So he works at this organization, I believe it's called the Ministry of Truth or something along those lines. So essentially in the book, he is tasked with rewriting history, right? So every day they have to go back and rewrite news articles to match with certain agendas and propaganda and to push certain narratives. And I know a lot of people talk about how 1984 is real and how we're living in it, but this is actual proof that this stuff is coming. It's not a joke. It's not a game. This is crazy. The fact that they are rewriting history, that they are changing books and they are suppressing information. And then going back to there was a really good hold on. Let me go back and find it. Right here, it says, adding that so much of literature could be constructed as offensive to someone. So once again, who is determining what is offensive? And then this is such a slippery slope because what's offensive, things that are offensive are subjective. You can't go back and make objective changes to things that are subjective. So using the same ideology or using the same feelings, people could be like, oh, well, I am offended that you're out here changing literature, that you're changing books, that you're not telling the truth. But they won't go back and change because of that. It shows you that there is a very clear agenda that they're trying to push and that they're trying to force down people's throats. And anyway, as a reader, as an aspiring author, I would be utterly disgusted and just, oh my gosh, if someone went back and changed my books or tried to force me to change my books or any of the books that, I grew up reading, I would be disgusted. So anyway, I would recommend that you guys right now buy as many books as you can, before they start censoring all books, before they start removing books from the shelves, and raise more awareness about this. Like I said, I try to make a video about it so I can tell you guys and so that you guys can see, what's really going on in the world and how they're surreptitiously and incrementally trying to force their agenda on people through one way or another. And it's, like I said, it's scary and it does not bode well for the future of society. And that's another aspect of 1984 is that nobody understood their history or where they came from or any of the terrible, atrocious things that were going on in the world because they were constantly changing the literature. Every history book, every news article conformed to what Big Brother, that's the the name for the, organization that runs everything in 1984. They were constantly changing everything to conform to Big Brother's narrative and their agendas. So definitely be careful with this stuff, man. Like I said, try to raise more awareness about it. And like I said, buy as many books as you can, because it's only gonna get worse. They're gonna start revising history books. Like I said, they're gonna start removing books off the shelves. They're gonna start burning books and preventing people from reading. And it's, they talk about inclusivity, but they're only inclusive to they talk about inclusivity, and they're literally the most exclusive people out there. If you don't adhere to my ideology, if you don't think how I think, then you get labeled as an ish. You're racist, you're misogynist, you're fat phobic, you're homophobic, whatever. Like, you talk about inclusivity and you're out here oppressing people and excluding people who don't adhere to your ideologies. It's ridiculous. It's hypocrisy at its finest. Anyway, man, hopefully y'all learned something from this. And yeah, once again, the title of the article was "Changes to Roald Dahl's Book Spark Criticism." And I'll see y'all in the next one, man. Bye, Chance.